Today I am going to present a teacher presentation. My class topic is India's foreign policy, meaning and elements of foreign policy, presented by myself, Manmohan Gogoi, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Dhemaji Girls College, Dhemaji, Assam, presented to UGC HRDC, Aligarh Muslim University. The definition of foreign policy. A foreign policy is a set of political goals that define how a sovereign country will interact with other countries of the world. The execution of this policy involves depending political, socio-political, and trade and defense ties between countries, as well as participating in multilateral forums involving many countries. Constitutional provisions for India's foreign policy definition. Our constitution defines, as in Article 51 of the Indian Constitution, directs to adopt the foreign policy which upholds international law and coexistence. Right from the time of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, India argued for disarmament to maintain peaceful cooperation. Basic principles of India's foreign policy. The basic principles of India's foreign policy are as follows: Panchashil principles, non-alignment, against colonialism, against racial discrimination, disarmament. Panchashil and Indian foreign policy. Panchashil resolution of in 1955 with between India and China, the 5 nitis agreed both the countries. First, mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty. Second, mutual non-aggression. Third, mutual non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Fourth, equality and mutual benefit. Fifth, peaceful coexistence. Elements of the foreign policy. The main elements are the size of the state territory, geographical factor, level and nature of economic development. Fourth, cultural and historical factors, social structures, government structure, internal situations, values, talents, experience and personalities of leaders, political accountability, ideology, diplomacy, international power structure, global strategic environment, public opinion, technology, alliance and international treaties. Now let us explain. Size of the state and territory. It depends. The foreign policy depends mostly on the size of the territory. If the state is smaller, its territorial boundary is small, then its foreign policy different with the states whose are the larger geography, like India, like America, like Canada, like Africa, Brazil. These countries' foreign policy is different with other countries whose are less amount of territory. Geographical factor, like that the territory, the geographical factor is important. Geography, where the country is located, like in for example, India is located in southern side by in sea level, Indian Oceans. They protect us. And with Himalaya, they protect us. This is the example. So where geographical factor are always works. Level and nature of economic development. Level and nature of economic development is also important because the country's economy is very crucial in foreign policy agreements. If the country is economically healthier, economically strong, then poorer countries cannot do the cannot against them in any the international fields like UNO, like other international organizations. And cultural and historical factors. Cultural and historical factors are very, very important because foreign policy depends on that cultural and historical factors. What are the history of that country? What are the culture of that country? It depends. Social structure. What are the social structure? Social structure also depends on foreign policy. Also depends on social structure because society. What is the based on society? Scientific society or traditional society. If society is on scientific society, then that country's foreign policy is more strong, more progressive. And government structure also very, very important because government structure means in like democratic country, like the country where regularly regularly they organize the elections regularly. Elections works because the selected governments can that much of work is which is very, very important in foreign policy matters. And international situation also very important because countries internal countries international situation is need to be very, very cool because internal situation is the countries whose internal situation is very bad, they cannot perform a good policy of foreign policy, good policy with any countries. Values, talent, experience, and personality of leaders. Leader is most important. Leader is most important because you see the American leaders, Chinese leaders, compare with Indian leaders. Leaders are more important in policy matters, foreign policy matters. Leaders need to be talented, leaders need to experience, leaders need to be valued, then his policy going to be workable. And political accountability is also very, very important factor in foreign policy matters. Politically accountable. And ideology is also the country's ideology and leaders' ideology is very important because India's foreign policy and very much depend on Gandhian policies, which are non-violent, which are against aggressions. And diplomacy is also one type of foreign policy because diplomacy going on with the help of foreign policy. International power structure also very important because international powers are what are the power structure if you see the Cold War period, the international powers are divided into two sides, USA and USSR. This time foreign policy and post Cold War foreign policy very, very different. And public opinion, government always need to hear the public opinions, his residers, its citizens, so what they want. It is very important. And technology, new technologies need to be used for better successful of the foreign policy. And alliance and international treaties, bilateral and multilateral treaties are also very, very important because alliance continuously going on between the countries. If and the foreign policy also take on that agreements, alliances. That's all. Thank you.